You are not in danger right now. Your bills are not a lion. Your inbox is not a collapsing cave. Your 3 a.m. thoughts about everything you have not yet figured out are not a predator standing 6 feet away in the dark. None of the things that are stressing you out are going to kill you in the next 4 minutes. But your body does not know that. Right now, at this moment, if you are carrying the low-level weight that most people in the modern world carry most of the time, the financial pressure, the unfinished work, the uncertain future, the relationship friction, the background noise of a world that never fully quiets, your body is running a stress response. Not a dramatic one. Not the kind that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. A quieter version. Chronic. Persistent. Humming along beneath the surface of everything you do. And that response, sustained over months and years, is one of the most damaging things that can happen to a human body. This is not an exaggeration. This is what the research shows. And understanding why it happens, why a brain designed for short, intense bursts of danger is now running that same emergency system on slow, diffuse, never quite resolved modern problems, is one of the most useful things you can know about your own health. Here is what is actually happening. Your stress response was not designed for the kind of stress you are currently experiencing. It was designed for a very specific kind of problem. Immediate, physical, short-term threat. A predator, a rival, a flood. Something that required your body to mobilize every available resource as fast as possible, perform at maximum capacity for a brief window, and then return to baseline once the threat had passed. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University has spent decades studying stress biology in both primates and humans, and his work reveals something that changes the way you understand almost every stress-related health problem you have ever heard of. The stress response itself is not the problem. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering. In the moment of genuine physical threat, it is exactly what you need. When the alarm fires, your brain releases adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate increases. Blood is redirected from your digestive system and immune function toward your large muscle groups. Your perception sharpens. Pain tolerance increases. Your liver releases stored glucose for immediate fuel. Your blood clotting ability improves. Useful if you are about to be injured. Every non-essential system powers down so that every essential system can run at maximum. For 4 minutes in the savanna, this is perfect. For 4 years in an open-plan office, it is catastrophic. The problem is not the response. The problem is the duration. The human stress system was built for a world where threats were acute. They arrived, they were resolved, by running, fighting, hiding, or dying. And they ended. The biological reset followed within minutes. Cortisol levels dropped. Heart rate returned to normal. The immune system came back online. The body replenished what it had spent. In the modern world, the threats never end. The mortgage does not resolve itself in 4 minutes. The difficult relationship does not conclude. The career anxiety, the social pressure, the uncertain future, the constant low-level awareness that things could go wrong in dozens of ways you cannot fully control. None of these have a finish line. There is no moment where the threat is resolved and the body gets the signal to stand down, so the cortisol keeps running. Bruce McEwen at Rockefeller University spent years studying what he called allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on the body that results from chronic stress activation. What his research mapped was the specific, measurable damage that sustained cortisol does to virtually every system in the body. It is not abstract. It is not metaphorical. It is structural deterioration happening in real tissue. Prolonged cortisol exposure suppresses immune function, the exact system that was temporarily powered down to free up resources during acute stress. Short term, this is fine. Long term, it means the body's defense against infection, inflammation, and even early cancer cells runs below capacity for months or years at a time. It damages the cardiovascular system. Sustained elevated blood pressure and heart rate, designed to last seconds, instead last for hours and days, accelerating arterial aging at a measurable rate. It disrupts sleep architecture, which is itself one of the primary mechanisms the body uses to repair the damage stress causes, meaning chronic stress degrades the very recovery system that was meant to offset it. And it changes the brain. This is the part that Sapolsky's research made undeniable. The hippocampus, the brain region central to memory, learning, and emotional regulation, has a high density of cortisol receptors. It is extraordinarily sensitive to sustained cortisol exposure. Under chronic stress, the hippocampus physically shrinks. Neurons die. New neuron growth is suppressed. The connections between cells weaken. The result is measurable impairment in memory, concentration, and the ability to regulate emotional responses, which means chronic stress actively degrades the brain's capacity to manage the very stress that is causing the damage. It feeds itself. You become worse at handling stress because the stress is damaging the part of the brain that handles stress. Sheldon Cohen at Carnegie Mellon University conducted a landmark series of studies exposing healthy volunteers to cold viruses after measuring their stress levels. What he found was linear and alarming. The higher someone's chronic stress, the more likely they were to develop illness. Not slightly more likely. Significantly. People under high chronic stress were nearly 3 times more likely to develop a cold than people under low stress. Not because the virus was different, but because the immune system suppression caused by sustained cortisol left the body measurably less capable of defending itself. This is the mismatch rendered in its most concrete form. A system designed to temporarily suppress immune function for 4 minutes is being kept in that suppressed state for 4 years. And the body pays for it the way any machine pays for being run outside its design parameters, with accelerated breakdown. Here is what makes this harder to address than it sounds. The chronic stress response does not feel like the acute stress response. It does not feel like danger. It feels like tiredness, like low-grade irritability, like the sense that you are always slightly behind and never quite rested. Like the background hum that you have had for so long that you have started to think of it as your normal. It is not your normal. It is your body running an emergency system on a setting it was never designed for. Quietly, persistently, at a cost that accumulates in ways you often cannot see until they become impossible to ignore. Understanding this does not make the mortgage disappear. It does not resolve the inbox. The modern world is genuinely full of things that activate the stress response, and many of them are real problems that deserve real attention. But what it does change is this: the recognition that your body needs the same thing it always needed. Moments of genuine resolution. Periods where the nervous system receives the signal that the threat has passed and recovery can begin. Not distraction. Distraction leaves the cortisol running. Actual physiological downregulation. The kind that comes from sleep, from physical movement, from genuine social connection, from moments of safety that the ancient brain recognizes as real. Your ancestors did not have fewer problems. They had different problems. Problems with a finish line. Problems that resolved. Problems that, once survived, allowed the body to rest. The goal is not to eliminate stress. The goal is to give an ancient emergency system the resolution it was designed to receive, and stop asking it to run forever on a threat it was never built to handle. You are not in danger right now. Your body just needs a moment to believe that.